We've got some off-price crack toys to miles and miles of carpet tiles, TVs, deep freeze and David Bowie LPs, pool games, gold chains, what's the names, and now to put some Trevor Francis track seats from a mush and shepherd's bush, no income tax, no...
We're good to go. We've got host and editor in the seats. You're the man behind all the editing. It'll be good for people that actually don't know to see your face for once, mate.
Yeah, man. I'm literally editing something right now for Davies' one. So I'm a busy man.
It's a full-on job. To be fair, your job in this channel is a lot more full-on than mine. Mate, I just get to do the good bits. I get to sit here and talk to people.
Mate, I do look at, when I go on YouTube, obviously me and you watch YouTube bare, but when I see some of these people and how many videos they put up and that, I'm just like, fuck, man. As well as doing the actual filming, there's so much to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I've spoke to since doing this channel that actually love the idea of having a channel themselves.
Fact.
But it's hard. Like me and Chicky said in episode 1 of Taking the Mic, there's so much that goes into it. Even you think of the reason we're jumping on now, obviously, is because we're releasing, this is going to be the start of Taking the Mic 2, episode 2.
2.0. This is going to be bigger and badder, isn't it? That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this today. Yeah.
It is, because we have filmed it when your dad was in Australia. Realistically, we don't want to release it because the standards of cameras set up just isn't what we want.
It's not what we want. It was... we spoke about it a fair bit. It was what had to happen at the time, but we don't want to be putting out nothing worse than what's before. That's our rule, really. It has to be better. And
we have to grow. Yeah,
we have to. But this one slightly off, but
it's off. But it has to go up because Andy's no longer in the country, so we can't refilm it. And then we had the discussion: do we release the audio and then just put a picture? And then I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. It's part of everyone seeing our journey as well, isn't it? Like, not everything's been perfect. This video that we're releasing, so this one that's going out now, episode 2, that was off the back of a 6-month break. I think we'd moved house twice.
Man.
We're obviously in this new gaff now with the podcast room, and we're setting it up. And I was like, do you know what? Let's release it because I want people to see not how bad it was, but how much we're going to get better because we have got some good things in the pipeline.
Yeah, agree. It'd be a shame to just not have it up. So I reckon, give everyone a little slice of my old man. I reckon they'll enjoy it.
I wish he was here more so we could just film with him regularly because him and Chicky were good.
They were good fun, weren't they?
Yeah.
Fun. But going back to the point as well was that it's hard, to do all of this stuff. That's why we're kind of doing this little bit now just to let people know that it's going to be better. Hopefully we're going to do a bit more. We've ordered a couple bits. We've done a few things. So,
well, end of this week is massive because the other chair that allows us to do our Taking the Mic is going to complete the set because as people would have seen, we've got like this, we've had the sofa and even with the mic set up with the latest episode of 26 podcast with Davies, it was tough because the mics were at a funny angle and everything. Went to IKEA and bought the table. Everything is just coming together. But whilst we're putting everything together, we also don't want to go ghost again on the channel. So it's like we're almost in catch 22 because you don't want to release shit, but then you can't just go quiet whilst we're building everything and then it just go bang. So we're kind of growing with everybody who's watching. People will see the change.
Yeah, fact, 100%. We've
got to give Hayden Tennant a big shout out because he has organised the neon light that we're going to have. So on this wall, these shirts are all going to be put up in a specific space. At the minute, they're just up where we could put them.
We just put the best one in the middle. In fact, you probably can't see the Cambridge United one up here. We put it out of shot.
The Cambridge United one's the biggest one, so it couldn't fit where this small club could fit. So,
but you're right. That's gonna Hayden sorted us right out with that.
Yeah,
Obviously speeded it up as well for us, which was good.
Yeah, so Hayden's give us the neon light. We will plug him properly, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'll find out whether his website and everything, and in the next episode when we've got the light and we can really plug it, we'll put his details out and stuff.
Because I see his work before up at Breezy's Cafe, wicked light, wicked straight away. I said to Breezy, me and Roger need that when you want like that. So
now it was quality. It was good. He was really good as well. Like, dead quick on the designs, real helpful. Like, I know Brad and a few boys, Breezy, know him, and he don't know me, but he's been, honestly, top-notch. His service has been class.
Class, man.
Genuinely.
Can't wait to get it.
And I heard he plays golf, so I want to go and play golf with him. Him and Brada.
There you go. Love it.
So we've got big things happening to this wall. This is going to be like the feature wall, innit, where we're going to just put loads of stuff. Boxing glove with Nick Carra's signature.
Want to get some memorabilia, don't we? You want to get that going up there.
Yeah.
And we just have something that we can properly keep for a while. So make it good for everyone and for us.
Yeah. It'll be nice for us to have a setup where we can go, right, almost leave this room set up. And then when we've got an episode, we come in here and it's like, I guess the ones that we watch, we watch stuff and we go, we see their setup. We kind of just lack that a little bit.
Yeah, because having to put it together every time, like I said, there's so much going on. Just here and there, like, trying to put TikToks together, trying to put fucking the video together, or editing bits and that. So who's got time to quickly throw the set together as well? Like, if we can put it up, it will help with everything else as well.
Well, I think that's a good point as well, Jay, because in this episode, the cameras that we're using, we've completely sacked off.
Yeah, we've changed it all.
We don't even use them now. Mm-hmm. So the in this video, not this part, but when it goes into the video, we don't even use those cameras. I don't even threw them aside. Yeah. But that we needed this episode in order to find that out. And mate, we had Chicky and Andy over there. I was sitting where you were. It was like...
And barely anyone could see each other, so we're working on it, making it a better experience, for everyone. So
yeah. It will be good for people to see that and having listened to us now, actually look at it and then watch. So taking the mic episode 2, which is this episode, and then seeing taking the mic episode 3 is going to be mind-blowing for them, because we're going to have the light, we're going to have the 3 seats, the wall's going to be completed. So it's going to be like, they're going to see how serious we are about it.
Definitely. I think we're going to try for the rest of the year, kick on. We want to hit 1,000 a day.
1,000 subscribers is the one.
That's the goal. So
yeah,
we want to up it. Yeah. So we want to get 1,000.
Yeah, I went to the work conference, as I said, and they were doing this bit of like what you want to achieve in your life. And my partner, as I said, was my little under 8 Nicholas, and he'd give it a shout out that 1,000 subscribers for YouTube. So once he'd said that to the whole room, I was like, I have to go and achieve that now, because people in the room are probably going to be looking again.
Mate, like I said before, I go on there and I see how many. It's so tough. That's tough to get 1,000. It's tough. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hours. That is.
It is, and I think when we look at it as well, Jay, we've released 1 episode of Taking the Mic and 6 episodes of me interviewing people about their careers. Nick, the Special K Cara, his is at 900. Nearly touching 1,000 views. Yep. Nick McCoy's is at 1,000 views. Rightly so, because Nick Carra's unbelievable talking about his fighting career in Thailand. And Nick McCoy obviously coming out and speaking about the match fixing 100%. Scandal.
That's, for me, that's the best. If you haven't seen that one, honestly, I love podcasts. I listen to them on the way to work. That is one that it's a couple hours long, so you just get through it, but it is wicked, bro. That was for me, that was wicked. I loved it.
I know so many people that talk about that match fixing scandal, but I hear so many different bits. It is the video. Within 6 episodes, we've got a video where you can go and find out everything about one of the biggest match fixing scandals in football.
Most people know that story, but they don't know that story, bro.
Correct.
Because even me and you are good mates with Nick, and he'd give us. We wouldn't want crumbs, but it'd come out and you'd hear this and that. But when you fully sit down, now just watch it, and it's one of them that you're just like, oh no. So yeah, that for me, that was unreal. I loved that one.
Yeah. So really, in 6 episodes, hitting them sort of views and just over 208 subscribers. I'm going, right, I think it's time for us now to get the wall done, get the setup so it's ready to rock and roll.
You've done some investing, bro. It's fair play to you. Because when you started it, you used to come in my bedroom, mate. You used to come in my bedroom and be like, mate, and you did this for a couple of years. This was a couple of years before we even started, and we've been going a year or so, or just under a year now. Like, so, mate, you've put in some effort, and to see where we're going to be, looking good.
But also having Chicky, who's in this episode, he's going to be with us full time now. But even seeing, I call him a couple of times a week, and his energy, his buzz for it is...
It's incredible, man. Like, it's refreshing for sure.
Yeah.
It's good for me and for you, that,
I think we need that as well. I said this to Chicky because, like I said, I'll watch you. I'll come in from work and I'll come in late, obviously, and see you at it on the YouTube, on the TikTok. And I feel sorry for you in some stages, but I feel like you do need a Brad. You need a Chicky. Yeah, we need a group of us where it's like I said today, we're going to get us some T-shirts and jumpers and make it. But honestly, I do feel like the next couple of months, people are going to really see us. They're going to go, right, they're serious.
Definitely. With Chicky, Brad there, like you say, you need that energy, you need that. Like, we're doing our bit, they're doing their bit. It's good. I reckon there'll be big things coming. Looking forward to taking the mic.
100%.
Good fun, different, change of speed. I think everyone will enjoy that.
Yeah, for sure, and some good guests as well on the 26 podcast interviews coming up. So
some quality ones lined up.
Yeah, we got one secured today. We're not going to reveal it, but he's going to give value. I'm looking forward to that one.
That'll be a really good one. I'm looking forward to that for sure. That'll be wicked.
Well, we're going to jump into the episode. Me and you have got a curry in the slow cooker upstairs, mate. So we're going to sign out on this. Hope everybody enjoys the episode with your dad, Andy, and Chicky, with myself talking about VAR. And watch this space because we're going places, man.
Enjoy it and forgive us for this terrible, terrible camera quality.
I know that you didn't. You really don't want to click publish on this, but I said no. Do you know what, people? If you're going to watch the video, you're already at this stage listening to us now. It's going to get better. Enjoy that the quality ain't as good because you're going to see episode 3 taking a mic, and it's just going to be a different kettle of fish. It really is.
Yeah, agreed.
Quality, let's get into it, bro. Let's get them in.
Do I get one of them handshakes?
Chicky, Andy, you can come in now. Let's go. We're going to film. Well, welcome back to 26 Podcast. I've had a little bit of a break, but I'm back with an absolute banger. I've got 2 good friends with me. I've got Andy Davies and I've got David Chick, Cambridge United legend. Andy, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Rogues. You?
Good, I'm good. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for coming. Obviously, you're here visiting Jay, your son, who I live with, my best mate. How you finding your time in Australia?
Yeah, it's not been too bad, really. I just can't wait to go home.
But you've only got a couple of days left, so I thought I'd be quick and snap you up and get you on the pod. And I just realised how expensive you're going to be, so you better perform well. That's what I'm saying.
I always perform well.
Absolutely. Chicky, how are you, mate?
I'm a bit disappointed, mate, because I thought I was your best mate. But I've just found out it's Jay, so I don't know why I'm here.
Well, you're top 5, I reckon.
Top 5.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I don't have many friends, but you're in the top 5. Now, obviously, we're here to talk all things VAR. A couple of debates that I've had. First off, though, I do just want to kick off the podcast by asking, you're both football fans, watched it all your life. I just want to find out, Andy, I'm going to come to you first. What's the best goal that you've ever seen live?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Rogues, right? It was step 3 for St Neots against Banbury, and it was from the kick-off. And centre mid, little terrier named Rogan, absolutely banged one, didn't bounce, hit the net, middle of the net at the back, scored a goal and celebrated with me. That's the best goal I've ever seen live.
Chicky, I was just watching your face the whole time he's explaining that. You look like you got something to say, mate.
No, mate. I've heard the legend that is. I've not seen it yet, and I've watched a few, but it is what it is. It's facts, isn't it? So apparently this happened, and he's a reliable source. So big things to come for you.
It was a good goal. It was a good goal. Sidewinder. It wasn't filmed. No,
So
it
it's
wasn't.
a legend. It's a myth.
Listen, as long as Andy tells the story, I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that, I reckon.
It happened.
It happened. Chicky, I've got to be fair. You haven't never seen me score live, so you know it's not fixed, this one. What's the best goal you've ever seen?
More so, what's the best goal you've seen? Because I scored against Crawley, and you probably were in the crowd. So I reckon that far post header boom, there with my Metal Man of the Match award. Yeah, I think I saw you in the crowd.
The only time I ever remember Chicky playing for Cambridge United was when he was buzzing around down the left wing on your debut. And I think we lost 3-0. That's my only memory of you.
I was supposed to be playing left back. I think that was the problem. I think that's why we lost.
No, we're going to kick straight into it. So obviously we're here. There's been many debates that I've been having about VAR. Loads of talk, obviously, worldwide about VAR. I want to get straight to it. Are you both in favour or are you not having VAR at all?
I'll let you go first, Andy.
I'm going to nick a bit of what you said earlier.
Should have gone first.
I'm not having it at all, and definitely not in its current form.
I like the idea of it. I think the idea of getting clarity in the game when there's so much money involved, people are paying for clubs billions of dollars, and obviously being in a competition or out of a competition where you are in the league is massively affecting people's jobs, coaches, players, massive effect on the money, big emotional effect on the fans. So if they can get it right, it makes sense. It works well in a lot of sports. But with the current rules and the stipulations around it, it's so difficult to get it right. So I'm for it if there's change. If there's no change right now, it's just ruining some of the best parts of the game.
What changes would you make?
There's a few things. Like we said, it takes about 80 seconds.
Yes, they reckon it's on average 84 seconds. But my concern mainly is when it don't take 84 seconds. And we had one the other day where they spent 3 minutes looking at an offside and they weren't even looking at the correct one. That's the issue. You're spending too long going over something, and then it ain't as if the guy in VAR, the official in VAR, can overrule the referee. He can't. He has to make him then go back to the screen to make the decision again. So he's just wasting time.
Well, I think there's also the one that sticks out in my mind. Callum Wilson went through, got wiped out. It's a Stonewall penalty, right? Or it's just a penalty. They then go to VAR. And because it's not a clear or obvious error, they think, then they're not going to intervene with what the ref gives. So they've taken time. We've all seen that with those replays, it is in fact a penalty. But actually, he's not overruling him because it wasn't clear and obvious. What is clear and obvious? How do you determine that?
Well, on the 80 seconds thing, every other rule they've ever introduced is to speed the game up. 6 seconds for the goalkeeper. The ball's around the side, so if it goes in the crowd, it comes on. They've always talked about speeding up the game and not having these stoppages. This does the opposite. And then if you're going to have that stoppage and then the guy can't actually give you the correct decision, why are we having clear and obvious? Is it to protect the referee's decision? You're not completely wrong, so it's okay. How do you have to be? It's either is or it isn't. And when they put VAR in, a lot of the rules had interpretation involved, which meant that you gave the referee a bit of buffer space. Interpretation, force, these type of things. As soon as you bring in technology, it should take out the grey area. It can be, now we can look at it and go, it is or it isn't. So unless you're going to look at it like it is or it isn't, and you're going to still have those grey areas like clear and obvious to give this buffer space, then it's not doing its job. and that's one of the rules that I would change, clear and obvious. No, it is or it isn't.
Yeah.
And that would be much quicker. And then why does he have to go to the monitor if a referee has seen it? So if your assistant goes, hey, it's offside, you go, okay, it's offside. You don't go and have a look and see if he's right. If he tells you it's a penalty and he's seen it in 3 better angles than you have in slow motion, why do you then need to go and see it again? If he's a referee, he's an assistant referee, they're called, right? If this is a referee, he can make a decision. So why are we wasting 80 seconds to get a clear and obvious penalty? That doesn't make sense. And it's downtime for the game. It's frustrating as a fan too, right?
Yeah, correct. Well, I think Andy said it to me the other day when we had the conversation just upstairs, is that it's taken away everything that you love about football when you're a fan.
The worst thing's the celebration. Like when you go in, have I scored? And you wait, and then you get that 80 seconds, and then you get that the moment's gone. Then you get that false celebration afterwards when they all run in. It's like hey, and some 5-5s. The fans like, okay, cool. You've lost. The moment was the special part. Like you saw it at any level when you score, when it erupts. You lose that special part when you have to wait for this guy to go. Like let the celebration go. Is it or ain't it? It ain't. All right, ain't. Back you come. It is. Carry on.
Is it as simple as that, do you reckon, to change?
I think so. I don't see why that person there if he's got the reason he's there is because he gets the benefit of the video, the angles, the slow motion. If he's got all those benefits, why can't he make the decision? He's a referee, right? It's not like it's me sitting there going, "Hey mate, I ain't sure. Have a look." It's a guy who's fully qualified. He can take a game.
Yeah. So here's my issue then with the offside, because they're now drawing lines. It's taking forever, which it would do, right? Because they're literally drawing lines and they're like working out if somebody's shoulder is just offside. My issue with that, and I've often said it to Jay, is when you're measuring it to that degree where players are moving, especially nowadays, at such a fast speed, and we're talking about their shoulder, they're just leaning offside. Well, what's the technology of saying if we're going to that degree and that detail of a player being offside, what detail are they going to that the ball's left their foot at that exact moment? Is it just eyesight? Because that being a shoulder, for instance, being offside, is a minor detail at a very quick speed. How are you measuring when the ball is actually leaving the player's foot to that degree?
It's always been that though, right? Even if you didn't have VAR, you're still going to get. It's all about this much space. Is it on? Is it not? So I don't think it. I think you're always going to measure to the inch because it's like unless you did something like daylight where you can just see daylight, like he has to be daylight past you, and it's obvious. As soon as you're doing a body part, and they had the crazy bit, wasn't it, when it was like what part of the arm, and they were doing the arm, but you can't score with the arm. Like, do you do leading foot? So again, I think it's a rule thing. I think if you change the rule, it would make it easier.
I think if you go down the lines that Rose has just said and said, like, we're now looking at when the ball leaves the foot, we're going to waste even more time. So it's going to slow the game down even more. I think I looked at a stat and it was like 2,400 incidents that VAR looked at. They only actually overrode 109 of them. Yet we've stopped the game for like 2,200 times.
1 in 8.
Well, when we don't need to, because he's not been overridden. So that ain't speeding the game up either.
Be interested to see how many of those overrides actually led to points. Like the difference of if that, like you said, it's 1 in 8.
Yeah.
How much in 1 in 8 is it actually affecting results? You know, if it's only affecting, if it's 1 in 8 and it's affecting 1 in 6, 1 in 3 results or something like that. Like a small percentage, then all the effort isn't for much. But like you said, how many we've all played in a game where you've looked at a decision that's cost you points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think the idea of this was that took that away.
But I think this is where VAR's not for me, because it takes away that conversation in the pub with your mates. Did you see we were robbed? It takes that away. It takes the goal celebrations away. It takes that moment away from the fans. And no fans, no big bucks for the players, no sponsorships, no big stadiums are full out, because the fans are the ones that generate the income in the first place. And if you're taking their enjoyment away, let alone the players' enjoyment, because what's it like to score a goal? Like Rashford scores a goal, he celebrates, and then 84 seconds later, it's ruled out.
The conversation's gone from the football to the technology.
Yeah.
So you've almost, and we all talk about football. We love that. Do I want to talk about technology and a guy sitting in a box? Not so much. You know what I mean? Not really.
Correct.
But yeah, I guess it depends on. I think if they change the rules, so the rules are there basically based on the fact that we know there'll be human error. When you put technology in most sports, it rules out human error. Like the goal, like is the ball over the line or not? That's brilliant because there is no black, there is no grey. It's either in or it's out. There's a chip in the ball. They show you it. It's done quickly. Sweet.
No arguments.
No arguments. And it's a great rule because you don't.
Yeah.
You get it right, and everyone accepts that. Yeah. And no one ever has an issue with it.
That's the only one I'd keep, Chicky. Goal line. I'd sack the rest off.
But
even with,
do you not think there's a way if they would change the rules? So the rules were made for humans. They weren't made with the technology.
Correct, yeah.
And they're now starting to adapt them because VAR has definitely got some problems. Mm-hmm. And they're going, right, we've got this problem now. We're going to adapt the rule to suit the problem. So if they could change the rules where we could cut out this 80 seconds if we could work out what's offside and what's not, then I don't think, if it didn't interfere with the game, I think it could be really beneficial. I just think right now, until they get that right, we're going to have this problem. And we're going to have this constant part where it's ruining the game in quite special moments.
I hear you. I just see it as the direction I believe the game's going in, with VAR, with the rule changes they're putting in and how it's going, and they're trying to make it decisions of black and white. I don't think it is like that. And for me, when I look at the offside now, which is probably my biggest sort of issue with the game at the moment, is for me, a striker or a winger or a midfielder making a run and staying onside, that's a skill, right? Mm-hmm. How on earth can a striker at speed be thinking about if his shoulder or his foot's just offside? It's a skill. So again, it goes back to what you said, Chicky, about rule change. I would have that. I'd listen to that. But they're trying to make it, black and white. I think, back in the day, Chicky, wasn't it like where... wasn't it like where if you were at least some part of your body was level, then you were onside? Was that was like the rule back?
I remember thinking it was like, I don't know if I'm right here, but I remember thinking like daylight, like if you were obviously offside.
Yes.
Like if you had a body part that was level, you were onside.
Yeah.
But they could still do that. You know what I mean? You could still do that. You could still make that the rule and still look at it. Look, there's some definite. Look, it comes down to this: the referee's job is hard. The game has got faster. Like we spoke earlier, it's like, imagine like Ramos gets it, zings it 40 yards over to Mbappe, who's running at 35 kilometres an hour into the box. This poor ref has got to get all the way over to there. The lino's 60 yards away on the other side, and we're going, hey, you better get that right, pal, because this is Champions League, and going out, we're talking about millions and millions of dollars. Bonuses, salaries, net worth of clubs. And what they're probably trying to do is going, right, we probably need to get that decision right. The difference is, I think fans accept human error. We go, what, the linesman did his best. Like, he might have called him everything under the sun beforehand, but he's a human. He ran his ass off. He put his flag up, and you go, all right, he got it wrong. If I was there, I could get it wrong too. If you ever try to referee a match, it ain't easy.
Yeah.
But when we add technology, we go, well, I want it right. You're stopping the game. You've got all this cameras and apparatus, and like the camera angles aren't great half the time. And like you mentioned, if FA Cup, if you play somewhere there aren't any, you don't have it, and you may have it at another level, like that doesn't seem right either. But like I think the referee's job is so difficult now in modern football that they do need some assistance to get it right. If not, we're going to get a lot of, like, let's be honest, before VAR, every week there was, ref made a mistake, managers were frustrated. The talk was just about the referee rather than the technology. So I think they need some assistance.
But I think
it's just what level and how much do we interfere.
You've gone from the referee making mistakes to now the guy sitting in a box making the same mistakes.
Are they making the mistakes because of the rules? Like you said, he can't, a clear and obvious error. Can he not overrule that because of rules? Because he could turn around and go, no, it's a pen, and we'd be happy. But because the rules don't allow him to.
It was the Liverpool game, wasn't it? Where they was measuring the offside, but they'd missed the player. Well, they'd missed the player, so he was clearly onside, but they ruled it offside, disallowed a goal.
Human error still.
So, human error, but now we've transferred from the pitch human error to the box human error.
I think there's other bit like is he active in play and stuff like that. That's so difficult, because name me a referee that really, like, none of them have really played at a level. I think in rugby they've all played. Right, so they're all experts. So when they talk about intent, like I deliberately tripped him, they know what intent is. I did that, mate. I know. Referees generally haven't played, so they don't. When they've got to work out intent or like when I go in for tackle, you can tell me whether I tried to hurt him or not. You don't know what I'm thinking at that point, and they struggle with the one I really really dislike is the interfering with play. Oh, he's in the box, not interfering with play. If you are, because if I'm a defender, if I leave you and you get the ball, you score. So you are interfering, and that's coming to that offside rule too. So you're thinking this poor ref, in that split second, he's got to figure out, are you on, are you off, right, from his linesman. He's got to work out, is there going to be any fouls or anything? Are you interfering play, are you not? I think they need assistance. And that's where someone can look at it and go, nah, look, he's ran away, the player's gone towards the ball. Not because, I think there's some confusion. Defender, like, if he's offside, do I just leave him? I can't leave him because I can't tell it. I don't know if the ref thinks he's interfering or not. So if they made the rules a little bit more black and white, I think the technology would work a little bit better, and the referees would still get the assistance that they need. And that it's finding that balance. Like I said, I'm not for it, but I think there's some merit in using it if we get it right. And you're never going to get anything right until you put it out there. You know what I mean? How many rules have we seen change since we remember the old pass back rule? You know what I mean? There's been a lot of rules that have changed that have made the game better. This might just be a teething period until they adjust it and get it right. But
a lot of what you said made sense, especially with the game being so much quicker, and then the money that's involved in football now. So there's a lot at stake. My issue as well as a fan is when I watch a game and I turn the TV on, and we get to half time, and I've always been one from young that loves like the ex-pros talking about the game and talking tactics, and I sit there and I listen to it, and I'm always intrigued by different opinions, getting like an ex-pros view on like I say, tactics and the way players are playing and what's actually happening in the game. Yeah. Now I turn on the TV and watch a game, and we've got an ex-referee there who is saying, you know, for instance, somebody's been sent off and he's like, well, actually, at the speed he's travelling at and with his foot, you know, showing, his studs are showing. I know he's not really made contact, but it is a red card in this day and age. I personally, as a fan, preferred to watch it where there was none of that rubbish. He didn't have an ex-referee trying to justify, you know, we don't want to see players getting sent off for, you know.
You can still have that, though.
Yeah, but you're talking about the money that you lose.
Yeah.
You know, millions upon millions
Good jobs,
getting
man.
into Europe. Yet, if Spurs play Preston away, Premier League club that's looking for Champions League and European football, and the FA Cup is a path to that. They play Preston away, there's no VAR. They play Preston at home, and they've got the advantage of VAR. That can't be right. Even that's got nothing to do with rules. That's just down to cost. Now, if we're talking about money, then unfortunately the FA want to implement VAR. Then implement it in all competitions.
It's either in or out.
It's either in or out. It's not.
You need a lot of referees for every game then, because if you do, I'm assuming it's an extra. I don't know how many like referee numbers I know here have gone down.
I appreciate that, but if I get all my draws as a West Ham fan away,
you know, VAR.
I've got no VAR to back me up, and on the slightest of margins. Yeah, if Spurs get all their games at home, they get the benefit of VAR either way, whichever the decision is, good or bad. But generally, it's
and that's the same competition.
It's the same competition.
You could have the same competition. One's got VAR and one hasn't.
Yeah.
So,
your issue is the media and what they're basically broadcasting in those moments where this is taken over the football content.
yeah, and a little bit tricky as well.
So in the lower leagues, you're not getting that problem, which is cool. But I look at this, they're not stupid. Sky Sports plays that. If they're broadcasting that, it is because it's triggering emotion. So there's always the old, like you talked about the decision. The reason it is triggering emotions, it's making people, like, you're talking about it. I'm talking about it. We're doing a podcast about it. So it's definitely like...
I'm not that bothered.
You know that, I could care less, you know what I mean? Don't rate it. But all publicity is good publicity. And this thing here is actually a massive talking point in the game. So it's... I think to say, we don't want it...
I don't.
We don't, but you're here. And we're talking about it.
Someone
listening is going to change this
and goes, right. No, when I say it, I've got a genuine feeling as when I watch football. Jay will tell you, I don't get the same. I'm like, this nonsense. I preferred it, right? Maybe it's just me of what I prefer to watch. I preferred the days growing up where, for instance, Roy Keane and Vieira going at each other, might even grab each other, have a push and shove. Referee calls them over. None of that nonsense. Get on with it. And then at half time, we're talking about football. We're now talking about a player's been sent off, but he did like he might have touched
every
him.
Decision too.
Yeah, and he might have touched him. And he raised his hand. Well, the other guy's gone down like he's been shot. Maybe there's a number of issues. That's not just a VAR issue, right? But as a player, again, we talk about the money involved and what's at stake when you're playing football. Any player, I understand, is going to get any edge. So if somebody raises their hand, they're going to go to the floor. But I think with laws of the game, we can eradicate that. If you start to go, listen, he's barely touched you, get up. like it
Which
was
they
back
can.
in the day.
Well, they can still do that, right? So they've got the reasonable force rule. You know, and when VAR first came, it was like if you just saw a touch, it was like, well, there's contact. But now they've gone that it's not enough contact. So again, there's a grey area, like what's enough contact? My idea of enough contact is definitely different to yours because I've seen you play. So you know, but you know what I mean. Like that's something there, like which is again is open to interpretation by any guy that's in the middle.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll always be the human error with the greys in the game, and it's always going to be seen differently by every fan, every coach, every player, and the referee is no different.
But I think for me to speed it up, if the guy in the box makes the decision that was,
I think
that was it.
we'd all agree on that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
we all agree on
get
that.
rid of that thing on the ring and just
stop.
let that
The ref
guy
has
go.
to make the final decision because it slows it down even more.
It's qualified ref. So I think, look, the other thing is this, right? Imagine, put yourself in the referee's shoes for a sec, right? You've got this massive stadium. You know what's at stake, right? You're the guy in the middle. Everyone around you's on more money than you. You're deciding how this game's going to, you're going to make some big calls. And you're probably hoping to death that nothing big happens, that I don't have to make any decisions, right? And, you know, you've got someone that will reaffirm it for you to make sure you've made that right decision. Because, like, I think, you know, you'd be nervous. Split-second decisions, big crowds, money on the line, the pressure that you're under as a referee to get that right, to have that assistance where someone goes, yeah, you're in, you're out. You know, for them, you know, they don't want to make it. They don't want to get a wrong decision. You've seen referees get abused and all sorts of stuff. Like
Devil's advocate, players are the same. I know
players get paid a lot more.
Correct, but it's the same for them. They might trip over the ball at centre half and give a goal away.
Well,
it's part and
the other
parcel
thing
of what
is,
you do, right?
imagine if you're a ref. So we talk about don't go to the camera, right? Because it's 80 seconds.
Yeah.
There's a qualified ref. I think we all agree on.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all agree.
Yeah.
So but imagine you've made 4 decisions now, and he's turned you over 4 times. Where's your head at? Like, do you get subbed off because I've made that many mistakes? Like, if I could just get me out of here, my head's not in it today. Like, I think they're trying to protect the referee's integrity by going, let him go and make that decision because he's got to run this game. The minute he keeps getting it wrong, players are going to jump on that too. That's another one you got wrong. Coach had 4 wrong today, mate. So I think it's there to protect the ref. Now, is it good for the game? We all agree it's not.
It might be there to protect the ref, but who's protecting the ones in the box? 3 of them have
The
lost
ones
their
in the
jobs.
box.
But 3 of them have lost their jobs over the
I know.
decisions.
I generally know who the guy in the middle is. I don't know who the assistants are. I don't see their face. They're not accountable. They're not on the pitch. They're not in the crowd. They got the best job in the world. You're fucking wrong, mate. And then they're off driving. You know, they're loving it. It's that if I've got to do something, let me sit in the box in the aircon with a beer and let you know what's right and wrong.
I wish I'd done a little bit more research on what VAR decisions have killed West Ham, because I know Andy's got anger against VAR. And it must have killed him
It's all
somewhere.
the teams that aren't that good, you know what I mean? Trying to get away with cheating.
Nothing wrong with cheating.
So if you change that rule, right? You change that 80
Yeah.
seconds if we could, the referees and all that sort of stuff. There's, like you said, I think if you got rid of that and then we got the speed of the game back, right? If you could change a few of the others to make it fluid and quick,
I think the
then I
offside
don't
rule
think
needs to change.
If you changed, if you adapted these rules where it didn't interfere with the flow, it maybe didn't interfere with those silly 1 inch off in and out, and it was right, you know, it's got to, and then you got rid of the clear and obvious, so you got the right decision. That's the one that really gets me.
Yeah.
I think with Van Dijk when he got taken out around the knees. Oh, well, he's offside. Yeah, but it's still dangerous play, mate. The guy's he's out for a year. It's a straight red, but he can't look at it. He can't turn around and go, oh, by the way, he just took him out around the hip. Like, no good. He can only look at the offside, and because his offside doesn't count, if you take away those restrictions, the guy just turns around and goes, it's offside, but he's on a red, boom. And he goes, offside, boom, done, and we're playing. We'd be happy. I don't think we'd have an issue with it. And that's where I'm getting it. We're going, I think. If
so we could make it work if we adjusted it and the rules
That's
were
what I
clearer,
think.
right?
If they made the rules
better suited to what we want to see.
If it made the rules for the fans and go, what do the fans want? Right? They want fluidity. They don't want ruined celebrations.
Players as well.
They don't care about this inch offside or not.
Yeah.
And they want the right decision, whether the referee's wrong or not. I don't want clear and obvious. Give me the right decision. If you're going to stop this game, at least get it right. If they change those 3 rules, I think that would eliminate 60, 70% of the things we're unhappy about.
Yeah.
And would make things a lot more tolerable. We wouldn't worry about it. And those discussions wouldn't be happening because they'd be right. You wouldn't need the guy going, well, his foot's up. Well, yeah, we saw it.
Yeah.
And the right thing happened. You ain't got to justify it. We got the right decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think, like we said, the frustration, the waiting, and then the getting the wrong decision after waiting, that's just infuriating.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
Yeah.
And that's the bit where I think gets you rallied up.
Yeah,
and you're going,
correct.
you're going, if it's like this, I'd rather not have it.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people agree. But
Whereas actually what you're saying is if there was amendments and there was
wouldn't be like
adjustments
that.
to the rules,
It'd probably be cool.
we'll probably be more accepting of it.
Yeah, we go, it's part
No, I hear that.
That's
yeah,
where we're at.
Cheers for clearing it up for me, Chicky.
That's why I came here. Came here to just...
You come here for the calorie-free beer.
That's it.
I come here to lose some weight.
How was yours, Andy?
I ain't touched it.
You haven't touched it?
No, I'm waiting for a sugar-free Oreo.
Look, sugar-free Oreos are all right. They're all right. Well, now Chicky's cleared up VAR.
Just work that out for you.
Who? Cheers.
It's all right.
Who's winning the Premier League?
Man City for me.
Same.
I just think because their depth of squad is so big. It's ridiculous.
They've been there before too. Right?
Yeah, and they understand the pressure.
They understand the pressure. Been there
Winning breeds winning.
I think Arsenal are going to do it.
It'd be good. I'd like to see him do it because it's nice to have that change and see. Look, he's done a fantastic job. Like he had a tough, rough start. They've worked with him. He's stayed in there. He's playing some great football. They've made signings that are relevant to what he wants, and it's good. I like seeing coaches be successful. Like they've come in and you've watched them sort of evolve into this team that was trying to play away and couldn't play. A couple of signings, a bit more time, going through that rough patches.
Yeah.
Clubs sticking by their coaches, not just going and going. Find the next guy, and now he's getting the rewards for all the hard work.
Well, that kind of brings me on to my next point because we spoke about it a little bit, or I heard you guys while we were setting up talking about
where it came up.
Talking about how quickly managers go these days, and there was a time where the Arsenal fans were very vocal about getting rid of Arteta, and a lot of those would be probably trying to hide the fact that they were trying to call him out at that time. Do you think in the modern game there's too much of that, too much change?
There's no room for error in the modern game because of the money. We go back to the money.
Yeah. But always comes down to it, doesn't it?
With Arteta, you see what you see on the touchline. I was privileged to watch him work. I was on a license refresher, and he was finishing his pro license. And part of his pro license was he had to deliver in front of us, and we had to give him feedback. And I watched him do a session unopposed. We was talking about that earlier. Unopposed, just mannequins, right? And he had the same intensity with the Welsh under-16 boys as he does with them Arsenal lads when he's on the side. He had the same intensity in that training session that meant nothing to no one. That's him as a character.
That's just you, yeah.
And I think that's the bit that makes him a candidate to be a serial winner. Yeah, that's what I see. And honestly, I watched the session and I thought unopposed is going to be a bit boring here. Yeah,
it's difficult.
It was far from unopposed. The intensity he put on him to get it right with the weight of the pass, taking the bobbles out, punching them in. Everything was so meticulous.
Opposition normally brings intensity.
Yeah,
There's no opposition.
Yeah, but
so
he's
got to drive it and generally get the level of. The worst thing about a pass is you can't replicate the same. Like if you don't check your shoulder, there's no consequence.
Yeah.
If you pass it slow, there's no consequence. So to have it actually effective, you've got to have that drive and standard to make it relevant. And he looks like a really intelligent coach.
Yeah.
He looked really frustrated early on because you could see what he wants and he can't get it. But he's persistent.
Yeah.
Like I said that the club, I think, if you're a club and you can see that, why on earth would you change that?
Yeah.
You saw it with Klopp at the start. He's 2 players away from having a great team, and they spent big money on Van Dijk and Alisson, and suddenly they're winning stuff. And it's rare to find these special coaches that can. I think I've read some of Angelotti's, but they talk about coaching curves. Like most coaches have a sort of a lifespan. You look at Mourinho; it's come in, win something, do all right, ruin it, and leave and get paid out a big wedge and go next one. And it's finding these coaches like Ferguson, Wenger, Klopp, who have done it for that long. And Klopp's at his sort. They talk about his 7-year thing. Yeah, Dortmund, same thing. Yeah, that's not to be that intense every day. But name a job where you've got to be that intense.
Oh yeah, it's mad. I was speaking to Jay about Pep, and when he was at Barcelona, he would have been as intense as he is here. But we just didn't get to see the insight then because social media making films about managers behind closed doors wasn't there. But he had to take a break for a couple of years when he left there.
Take this toll on you.
Yeah.
Like that ain't a
I
regular
read that
job,
the other
is
day.
it?
Yeah.
Imagine being that intense
All the
every
time.
day in your day-to-day job.
Well, they do, like you
You
said,
get
Andy.
tired,
they,
man.
they do the documentaries, and there's been one on Pep and Arteta, obviously at Man City and then at Arsenal, and I was thinking about it the other day with how those elite managers are so intense every day in every moment of their life. So much so, there was John Terry talking in an interview the other day where Jose Mourinho was big on knowing every rule and law of the game. That he'd come across one that if you'd gone down injured, but it was through contact of somebody on your own team, you didn't have to go off. You know, when you receive treatment, you have to go off. So he then advised, I think it was John Terry and Cahill, if the game was like 1-0 or whatever late on, and the ball comes into a box and John Terry heads it, for instance, Cahill bangs into Terry, he goes down. And Terry said that the ref was telling him, right, you got to go off now. And he said, no, listen, this is the rule. So the ref wasn't even aware of it. The ref then, through the earpiece, has asked the liner or the fourth official. They've confirmed that actually that's correct. But it went back to that point of elite managers, just that
1%.
intensity
Not
and
even
that
1% less,
detail for every little moment, every little law, every little rule is, like you say, that to maintain that every single day, it must take its toll on you.
But that's the same with a player, isn't it, at the highest level? The intensity that someone like Kevin De Bruyne would put on himself to perform at that level and get into that team, because he's not a given.
No one's a given.
No, you know. But they're all under that
You think
microscope.
Think about the fine margins of winning something.
Yeah.
That's where I think VAR had a place. The fine margins of your Champions League, one goal can make it, one pass, one mistake, you know what I mean, one decision can cost millions in revenue, jobs, bonuses, all that, like we talked about. That pressure you take into that game, you know that. You're aware of where you're at. You know what I mean? Like, you looked at some of the more jovial players, like, who came, you know, like the South Americans, always like they always looked like they were smiling and didn't have a care in the world. I always felt like when we were out playing, like, it was like, you know, this was so serious. Like, it probably wasn't, but at the time it meant the world to you. Like, every single second, one mistake could ruin everything for everybody. And you've seen, like, you know, you've seen in World Cups where one guy makes something, the whole nation, when Beckham got the red card, the whole nation hates you. You know what I mean? Because you made that one split judgment error. Yeah. They aren't regular jobs like that. And when they say footballers are paid too much, you put yourself in that situation where, you know, you've got the whole nation on your, you know, watching you and this and that, and you make one mistake, you probably deserve every penny you get. It's not just going out and playing at the park for fun.
It's not also. It's also
don't
not
sleep,
just.
mate.
It's,
You don't,
it's not
you know.
just. It's not just footballers that earn a lot of money, right? Movie stars do too.
Yeah.
That one's gone. Battery. Little rest.
Toilet break.
Yeah, toilet break. Well, we're back in action. Just as we were about to wrap things up, Chicky decided he needed a piss. So, you all good, Chicky?
The reason I need a piss is because you give me ultra low carb lager, and there's absolutely nothing here holding it in. So just go straight through. So
It's all right, though, isn't it?
I'm blaming it on the refreshments.
Do you like it?
No,
No, you don't. You're not having
really.
it.
Nah.
No, you've drunk about 8. You're still just testing it out.
Yeah, it keeps right. Well, it don't stay in you long enough, does it? You know what I mean?
It doesn't. No.
Recycling.
You're right. It always tends to cut out or have a little problem when I'm in full flow of saying something. So I think it's probably me that's the problem. Yeah, I've come to realise. Now we are going to do a little wrap up. In the break, Andy said something that was actually quite interesting. We've spoke a lot about the money in football. You know, the decisions that are made can have a massive influence. Andy, you were talking about all of us having a link with Cambridge United and them getting relegated.
Yeah, I mean, you was there as a youth and you worked there as a coach. I was there as a youth. You was there as a player. But the thing I was saying about stress that people are under within football, that the year they got relegated, so many people at the club lost their job. So many, you know, and it just filtered down on people that are in the canteen and the people like in the youth department. They all just went. All the kids were released. You know, just go off and find football elsewhere. At 14, 15, 16, when they were coming up to interesting times at the club, and should have been looking for scholars and, you know, first year pros, and the scholars were let go, and it was a terrible time, and that just comes, like I say, we were talking about Pep and the pressure he must be under, but the lower league managers might not be under the scrutiny of the millions and millions of people, but they're under the scrutiny of the local people, the community, and, you know, just everyone at the club looking at you thinking, please just win this week. Please just win this week.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, you feel responsible for everybody.
Yeah.
I think those shows, you know, when they're showing like the inside of clubs, the responsibility, like, you know, I was with Victory doing this sort of management thing the other day, and, you know, the coaches, they know all the staff. They know the office people, you know, from people that sell the tickets to the marketing. Everyone's willing to win, but when the on-field stuff doesn't go right, it affects the whole club. We just look at players and coaches, right?
Yeah.
In general, most people do. But there's so many other jobs at that place that are relying, you know, on that result and that victory to maintain doing what they're doing, their livelihoods. You know, so as a coach, you bear the head of the responsibility, and that's where those decisions, if they alter that course, they change lives.
Well, Jay said in the break as well about when we watched Sunderland Till I Die, the doco, and when they got relegated, and how many people were affected job-wise. And as you rightly said, Andy, that's their livelihood. That's all they know. And even being involved in football all your life, you tend to forget looking when, you know, it'll get to the end of this season, clubs will get relegated. You don't ever stop and think that you actually realise that, shit, there's people losing their livelihoods because of the result of
regular
what's
people
happened on the
with
pitch.
families and all those other things, you know, like they're humans, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you go back to that club and you say, like, the players that get relegated, most of them are already looking at other clubs. Yeah. They know it's coming. They know they've got to move on. The agent's already got feelers out.
Yeah.
You know, so but what does the guy do that sells the tickets? He can't exactly go, well, I'll just tout myself to another club for another ticket. He could be out of work because ticket sales are going to go through the floor. You know, league football to non-league football. Big. You know, it's a big drop, that is, you know.
It has a massive effect. Well, boys, listen, Andy, I know you've got a couple of days left of your holiday. Hope you enjoy it. It's been quality to have you here. And I really, really appreciate you coming on the podcast, mate. So thank you. Chicky, legend, a little bit of an exclusive, 26 podcast exclusive, but we've actually spoken and agreed that we're going to run this show as a regular thing. You're going to be co-host.
Oh, that's a bit of responsibility.
Do you like that title?
I just like turning up. I don't know if I want all these responsibilities. If it goes wrong, then I'm responsible for stuff. If the decisions aren't made right, you know what I mean? So
I'm going to have a picture with you after, and we're going to do a little. We've made a new signing, big moves at 26 podcast.
More than
We've
happy.
been a little bit sleepy recently. We've not had much going on. We're going to hit all of our worldwide supporters across the world with some big news that you're on board. And it's going to be class to have you, mate. So I appreciate you doing that. And look forward to the next episode. But, boys, thank you very, very much. And we'll see you all soon.
Adios, hasta luego, ti amo.
Yeah,
baby.